Town of Rome Board and Plan Commission meeting to order for Thursday, November 16th at 4 p.m. Roll call, starting on my left, please.
Dilge here.
Capel here.
Baker?
Jumati here.
Cole here.
Barheit here.
Gleason here. Dranzak.
Okay, certify the posting of the meeting, please.
I certify that on Wednesday, November 15th, 2023, the agenda for the Town of Rome Joint Board and Plan Commission for Thursday, November 16th, 2023 was posted at Rome Town Hall at 8:28 a.m., posted at Quick Trip LLC at 7:53 a.m., posted at Nakusa Port Edward State Bank at 8:35 a.m., emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 9:06 a.m.
Item 4, we'll approve the agenda, please.
Move approval of the agenda as written.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Capel, second by Supervisor Cole to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible action on the following items. And maybe we'll have our guests introduce themselves to us this evening, starting on the left, please.
Everyone, I'm Coco Collins. I'm the VP of Development and Sales at Dream Golf. I think I've a lot of familiar faces. I've been to the Plan Commission for the past probably 3 years, doing various things for Sand Valley. So nice to see everyone again, and for those I don't know, nice to meet you.
Hello, my name is Eric Newman. I am Director of Development with Sand Valley. New to Sand Valley's come June of this year, so I'm excited to be part of the growth that's being presented today.
Baker Thompson, Senior Vice President of Property Sales, Homeowner Development Team for Dream Golf, Sand Valley. Nice to see, I think, everybody I've met at least once, so nice to see everybody again. Thanks for making the time for this.
Hi, good evening, Bill Dvorak, SVP of Development for Sand Valley and Dream Golf, working on Sand Valley for the last 2 years.
Welcome. All right. Item number 5, discussion and possible action, presentation of proposed planned unit development project plan amendment relating to property owned by Sand Valley Resort, also known as Wisconsin Dunes LLC. So, proceed.
Perfect. Well, as I said, my name's Baker Thompson, and nice to have all of you here today. Thank you so much for taking the time. There's been a lot of conversation over the last, I guess for us, the golf season about coming in and talking to you about this particular plan that we've been putting together. We have spent a lot of time. This presentation, I think, encompasses a lot of what we are thinking about as we move forward into the next phase of Sand Valley and our partnership with the town. So I think the idea behind this, and we've talked about it with several of you on different occasions, is to really socialize our thinking here, get some feedback, and then hopefully move towards a plan where we can start putting some stuff in the ground going forward. So without further ado, I'll sort of run my thought here, and I'm open to any how we operate this any way we want, but I'd like to maybe just run through the slides, give you guys a chance to review this. We brought a board. It sounds like we'll be able to use this as well, which is great. And then really open it up to questions, conversation about what we're up to and what we think would be a good plan for Sand Valley. There's some themes that run throughout. And I think, we spend a lot of time thinking about not just Sand Valley and Sand Valley's setting generally within the town, but how that matches some of the town's visions. And then beyond that, where it puts sort of Sand Valley in the greater scheme of things for golf resorts and places that people want to come and visit. So without further ado, I'll sort of flip you guys through here. We put some colorful pictures in there just to give you an idea. I think, one of the things we've talked a lot about, obviously, as you know, and I wasn't here in the beginning, many of you were here in the beginning when Michael first came through. And his thought, obviously then, was to build a golf resort, and we've accomplished that in a lot of ways. And clearly with, the amount of development that's already happened, but also the amount of, the people coming through to play golf. That goal, we feel like we want to continue to grow that business, but as we think about Wisconsin and this part of Wisconsin and the beautiful dunes and the lakes and everything else, the recreation that this part of Wisconsin provides, we've thought more about families, we've thought more about community, we've thought more about empty nesters. So a theme that you'll see throughout this presentation is not just focused on golf and building golf courses, but creating community. So I'll just flip through. I don't know if you want to, who do you controlling this? Oh, I am. Oh, great, even better. So I'll do it this way. Hello, sorry, everybody. Okay, great. Some pictures. You know, you guys have a chance to take this home with you and read it, but, and I mentioned this briefly already, but, you know, in the beginning, we talked a lot about restoration, taking the red pines, bringing back the original sand dunes that have been here forever. You know, the Kaiser brothers, between, you know, the different entities, have about 12,000 acres under control. We've grown to about 221 beds, 82,000 rounds of golf. We employ 500 staff. So, you know, all the goals we set out to accomplish back in 15 and 16, I feel like we continue to strive to grow in that way and be a good steward of the area, but also of, you know, creating jobs, creating places for people that want to come, and then accomplishing the goal of building those golf courses. So just wanted to give you, touch on a little bit of that history. And this is the same thought as these two slides are, really, and then thinking about Rome's comprehensive plan, and then also the idea that this is a place not just for, a place that people want to come, not just locally, but from all over the world. We have people coming from all over the world to the town of Rome, which we think is fantastic. So a little bit of just background for everybody that hasn't always been around, and we haven't always been around either. This is just a quick slide going through when the previous PUD revisions happened. So 14 and 15, then we took a little bit of break, then we came back and did some stuff in 20 with employee housing, then Mammoth Conservancy, Sedge Village, Tennis Center, and then as recently as 2022, I think Coco was here to talk about the special residential amendment. So just wanted to lay that out for you as part of the presentation. Development team, we introduced ourselves. We're obviously missing Michael and Chris. Everybody else here is in the room, smiling faces. So one of the things that we, as we continued to grow, I think a lot of it happened organically. And I know, Jackie was there in the beginning, and others have been around the resort. A lot of things happened. We started with a golf course and a shipping container, then hotel rooms, then a clubhouse, then, just continued to grow, and it sort of grew organically. As we've continued to grow, we felt like we wanted to be really thoughtful about this next phase. And in doing so, we interviewed several firms, we worked with several firms, we went out and hired a third-party firm that's really an architecture and land planning firm. And they're nationwide. In fact, I think they've got international projects that they've worked on. The ones that stuck out to us are the ones that we've listed, so you got a chance to look at these. I've got a couple of pictures, but they're a pretty large firm. They're based in San Francisco. They've got offices in New York. They've been out to the site with us. They've been, we're on weekly calls with them, talking about all the things that make Sand Valley special and how Sand Valley sets into the natural setting. So the Palmetto Bluffs in South Carolina, the Greenbrier Hotel in West Virginia that's been there forever, some great places in California and Massachusetts. So these are all projects. These are all examples of projects that they've been a part of. So. As you page through, you'll see these are, and you can look all these up online when you get a chance. But they're an impressive firm. A gentleman named Tim Slater, he's been our point of contact. He's very thoughtful and has helped us think through a bunch of different iterations to get us to this point. So then we moved to sort of our vision. And one of the things we wanted to go through is sort of talk about the town's comprehensive plan and how that really, we try to match as much as we possibly can with that to what Sand Valley's doing. So, in the comprehensive plan, we talk about utilizing the open space, the water areas, the natural topography, the connection to neighbors. All those things are important to us at Sand Valley. We've done as much as we can to, like I said, take the red pine barrens, out and put in a natural landscape. So that'd be dunes and lakes and trails and obviously golf and the turf that goes along with golf, but really a natural setting. You use the word first class. We feel like we want to uphold that. Advance outdoor recreation opportunities. So clearly, like I've said, we've done well with golf, but hiking, biking, trail riding, fishing, swimming, all those things are part of what we feel is the future of Sand Valley, not just the golf. So boost economic development, increase tourism, preserve land, all those things were things that as we talked as a group, we pulled out of the town's comprehensive plan and felt that matches what we're trying to do within Sand Valley as well. So here's where we get into sort of, the core of our vision. So ultimately, as I've said, what do I do here? Sand Valley is, let me put this here. Taylor Swift.
Shocking.
It's sliding there. Okay. Like I've said, and I'll probably repeat this several times, but Sand Valley, obviously we set out to start a golf resort, and that we've done that. We've got, and I think most of you guys have been out there. I think a lot of you came for the tour, which was great, and thanks for making the time for that. But we've got two 18-hole public golf courses. We've got an 18-hole private golf course. We've got a par 3 17-hole golf course. We've got Sedge Valley coming online in July. So the golf part we've done a great job with. And I think when we originally set out to do homes and lakes, they're set sort of off the golf courses. And then the more we thought about how we wanted Sand Valley to be presented to the future was sort of bringing the community closer together. And so we talked about a lot of these words are sort of the buzzwords that we use is, we want to create community. So not just, so homeowners and resort guests alike can meet, have happenstance interactions, can meet at the coffee shop, can meet at the ice cream parlor, can be walking across the Commons golf course or from one side of the village to the other. And we'll get into the map a little bit, and I can sort of describe what that feels like and what that looks like to us. But that's what we're aiming for in this next phase is human interaction, meeting places for neighbors to reconnect, walkability. So within a minute of any front door, whether it be a homeowner or a resort guest, to be able to walk directly into a natural space. So whether it be out onto a lake, into a sand dune, onto a trail, onto a par 3 course, that's the goal for the next phase of development, is to create not only the sense of community where people are interacting with each other, but also directly into a natural setting. So really exposing what these beautiful sand barrens are, right? And focusing on outdoor recreation as part of that. So, out your front door, kids, grandkids, everybody, out onto a sand dune, out into the lake, swimming in the lake, ice skating on the lake, all those things. We've talked a lot about an important part of the Kaiser brand is restoration, right? So they've always been, going back to Mike Kaiser Sr. with Recycled Paper Greetings, restoration, bringing back the natural topography, bringing the land that was once there. So that's an important part of it. And then I think all of these lead into our final point, which is sort of that energy, right? So rather than urban sprawl and sort of houses being spread out as far as again, we bring the homes closer together. We create an energy with that where people are interacting, people are seeing each other, and then that allows for more shared common space. So, where the homes get closer together, then the lakes and the sand dunes can get bigger, and those places are places where there can be energy and people can see each other, and there's a collection of action going around there. So those are the big things we're working on. This is the big map which we brought a printout of. So it's hard really here, but as we talk about those same, and I'm going to pull it up here, but if you think about those words we just talked about, and I could just sort of describe to you some of the vision. So community. So this here, if you all can see, is this would be sort of what we call a heat center. We're planning a pool there, an area of where there'd be an activity center. So a place to rent a kayak, or rent a sailboat, put on some skates, skate out onto the lake. This would be a common green here, and then around that, this is where we have the homes a little bit closer together. And envisioning here sort of smaller homes, more bungalow types, so maybe more like a 2-bedroom with a bunk room, family setting. So, you might have a generation, you might have a grandparents, parents, grandkids in one house. You might have 2 couples and all the kids go into a bunk room. That type of feel is what we're thinking about here on this peninsula. And then as you slide out, this is the Commons. So the Commons is a 13-hole golf course, that we're designing. And it really, the name Commons it has that name, at least for now, because creates this, what I call, if this were the whole resort and it were a big bow tie, this would be the knot. So everything's gonna travel through here. So the idea would be to start at Sedge Village, maybe get, a coffee here, wander across the Commons, end up at the main clubhouse, end up at Mammoth Village. Your walking distance here to the tennis center. The tennis center is now built. It's a beautiful facility. There's 16 grass tennis courts here. These were lots 1 and 2 originally of Sedge Village. This is, another natural feature, a lake with homes around that lake, right? But a little bit closer than these lots when we originally set out here. And the idea is that you can walk across the Commons to these places. So everything here, and I think at one point we had a scale. So this right here, which you could do this on here, this is a 5-minute walk. So, if you start to do what a 5-minute walk is, so from here to here is, let's say 10 to 15 minutes. So, grab a coffee, grab an ice cream, grab your dog, whatever it may be, walk across. So the idea is to, instead of just keep going out and out and out, bring the homes and the spaces together, and then allow for these lakes and these sand dunes to really be places where people can be together and interact, and particularly across the Commons. So that's very high level what we're thinking about here. So this is now you're going to zero in on a couple of these spots, and so same concept, and these are really just for thought. Just these are not designs; these are just sort of inspiration. So just to give you an idea of what how we're thinking about it. These homes are a little bit close together. Now, aesthetically, don't get hung up on what they look like. More importantly, here's a long view across the lake. Here's another long view with some homes closer together. So the community is a little tighter. You might interact with your neighbor a little bit more frequently, right? So this is sort of the peninsula here, and then as we move down, we've got a couple of different sections. Here's this upper village we were just talking about. Oh, keep doing that. Sorry. This thing slides down. Sorry. Okay. So again, lake, sand dune. This we plan to maybe do some, potentially do a little, hopefully winter. We can do some winter activities, some sledding, tubing, maybe some kids ski hill off the back of the sand dune to the driving range, dunes along here, and then open this lake up. And here you've got, homes a little bit closer together. But again, this area here is, was 2 larger lots. I think it's about 36 acres combined, this whole area. And, we're planning something where the homes are a little closer, but we want to really give room for the amenities to breathe and be bigger, the shared areas. Again, I love this one. Great shot, fire pit overlooking the river here, would be fantastic. Here's, 2-story sort of living, but not, big, sort of bigger house, more vertical living, right? So that's another example here. We keep going. So I think I've talked a lot about families. One of the other things that we're very focused on is what we call an empty nester. So couple wants to come to Wisconsin, may spend weeks at a time up here, and they have more of a shared wall living experience where they have a master bedroom, and then they might have another couple come visit them, or they might have their kids or grandkids come visit them. But for the most part, they're sort of in that space, on their own without a bunch of kids. So this is, what we've created this sort of imagery here, where these are a little bit more shared wall, but if you see, there's green space all through the middle here. And the idea is, if you're living down here, you wander through here to get to the tennis courts, or up here to get to, the Sedge Village area. Again, great imagery, people eating out in the green, in the shared space. These sort of walking, of everything walking. So, you might drive here, you might come in the resort, drive here, park your car, and then you never use your car again. The idea would be that you'd be able to walk to all the things you need. So that's a lot of what we're focused on as we think about this plan. So the last part is this Mammoth Village. I would say, full disclosure, we spent more time talking about those other 3 parts than this part. But again, this I don't know if you guys can recall. This is the parking lot. So you come in, you see cars, there's gravel. It serves its purpose. In the long haul, we would love to have this be a place where, again, green space through the middle, connecting out into the commons. And then, you know, these darker buildings are the existing buildings. So create a little bit of an environment in here where there might be some hotel rooms or maybe some guest rooms, but also, you know, green space to kind of connect everything together and create that sort of that bow tie effect. So again, these are other places that we've either visited or found. One of these is in Watercolor, Florida. I can't remember where this one is, Coco, but Rosemary Beach, another place in Florida. So, you know, again, this is just showing sort of, you know, 2-story roof line with a little bit of closer together, but then also quite a bit of green space. So that's that's really the vision. And then we wanted to lay out clearly for you all to see, you know, some of the things that we're thinking about. So from an operational side, the order of these is less important, but these are all things we feel like we're gonna need over time, right? So more maintenance facilities, administrative office, meeting facilities, employee, you know, all those things are part of our future as we continue to grow. And then for the guest and for the homeowner, and for the visitor, you know, pro shop, practice facility, tennis center, we'd like to maybe add some different racket sports, retail, you know, maybe some retail, obviously golf, lakes, parks, ski hills. Eventually a welcome center is part of this overall master plan that we're developing. So, and then this gets into sort of a little bit more of the nitty gritty of where we're headed. So we feel like in order to accomplish this and get to where we want to be with allowing for that walkability and that energy and that community is to be able to put the detached homes sort of closer together and then allow that lake and that sand dune to really become a shared space, and then also allow for you know, some shared wall dwellings, so that empty nester, that town home. So this is sort of gets into a little bit more of the technical side of things. And then, you know, I think, you know, as we think about where we sit in general, you know, look, this part of Wisconsin, I mentioned this in the beginning, this part of Wisconsin is very special, right? We were lucky to find this place, and you guys were lucky to let us come in and share this space with you. So as far as we're concerned, you know, there's been a history of, I mean, you look at Derek Hughes, you look at all these places that have been here. We want to express to you all that, one, we have a lot of gratitude towards, you know, your willingness to work with us, but also that, you know, we understand that we're part of something that's much bigger in this area, which is the outdoor recreation, you know, all the things that have taken place out here prior, and not only the natural settings, you know, the sand dunes, the lakes, the rivers, the fishing, all that, but just, you know, people have been coming to Lake Arrowhead, people have been coming to Derek Hughes, all these places well before we were here. We feel like we want to continue to enhance that, you know, the area and the reputation of the area, and do that be stewards for not only the town of Rome, but Adams County and this part of Wisconsin. So that's sort of at a high level, and then got some great family shots to finish, which is fun. So that encompasses sort of what we're thinking about as a whole. You know, I didn't want to spend, you know, a bunch on every slide because there's a lot in there, and some of it, you know, is just fun to look at, and we wanted to show you like how we are thinking about it. And I think, you know, the objective here tonight for me was to really share this with you all and get you to think about how we're thinking about it. And, you know, we're really excited. We feel like we're in a great place. You know, I think we've talked about at different times, you know, the TID has gone well, you know, the resort continues to hum. In the golf season, you know, there's people, like we said, coming from all over the world, but also coming locally. So we're in a really good spot, we feel like, to continue to grow. And so that's sort of where we land. I don't know if Coco or if I missed anything, Eric or Bill, we wanted to be able to touch on all this stuff in an open setting where we could get some of your feedback. And again, I think we're trying to be as absolutely thoughtful as possible as we think about how not only we fit in to the setting here, but how Sand Valley grows. And I think for me, you know, anecdotally, like I'll tell you, like I come up with my family, and they love it. So, you know, my girls love it up here. We love coming to the Town of Rome Farmers Market, and that's a highlight for us when we're here. So all those things are a big part of how we came to this this conclusion, and that was the feedback that we gave to Hart Howerton as we continued to think about, framing what we wanted from them to then bring this to you all. So I'm happy to, however you guys want to do the next step, but that sort of is the high level of the presentation. I'm happy to go into anything further and answer questions. There may be some specifics that Eric and Coco can jump on as well, but again, we're really excited and we appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk to you guys about this.
Thank you very much. Did the rest of your team have anything they wanted to add, or did you want to open it up to questions right away, or did you want to add anything, or?
Baker covered it basically from everything from my standpoint. We all worked really collaboratively on the presentation for the past, few weeks, honing in on the details. So from my side, I think it was all really representative, and yeah, I just echo everything Baker said about being excited.
I would just add that we've been at this about a year and 4 months. The plans focused on, the early idea was walkability, getting people together, collaboration. And the first plans that came back from the planners were density, it was houses on top of each other. Every iteration, we were peeling it back, trying to get to that comfort level where we felt like the density was appropriate to accomplish the goals, but not have house on top of house on top of house.
Yeah, and I would say the theme of this entire presentation is sharing the space that we have with the rest of the community in those neighborhoods. So that we're using the land so everyone can share it, everyone can take advantage of it, not just the homeowner that has a large parcel.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, I like.
I'm happy to answer questions, or Lori, I'll look to you or whoever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to start off with questions? Who wants to start?
I guess, thank you for all of that. Everybody
Yes.
likes the pictures and the maps. That really makes it easier to understand what you're doing. That's well put together. So thank you. I guess my question would be, I think someone looking at this right now would think, whoa, that's a lot. What's kind of the time frame for all of this? This isn't all gonna be next year.
No, that's a great question.
Is it 1
Well-
year, 5 years, a 10-year plan? What is the time
I would say,
frame?
and maybe Bill and Eric, who are in the weeds a little bit more on but I would say that at least a 5-year plan, if not longer. I mean, I think, and I think I mentioned like Mammoth Village, which is that sort of upper, that's down the road. I think our focus right now, and stop me if you think I'm off here, Bill or Eric, but the lake is there. So Sedge Lake, I can go back here, but Sedge Lake is there. Sorry. So here's, so this, oh, I keep doing that. Sorry.
Must be movie night.
Yeah. So Sedge Lake is here. It's. I don't know if you've been out there. If you haven't, please go out there and drive out there. It turned out beautiful. Coco had a lot to do with that because she helped sort of frame all this, and as it disappears around this corner, it sort of looks like there could be water going on for a long way. So it's beautifully done. But this is the lake is filled now. I think almost filled or close to filled. So we've got another couple of feet. So I think right now the focus is the peninsula, and really, and I think we've heard from our guests the pool is an important family amenity. So I think in the short term, I think that would be where we would focus. And then these two villages, I think, are we'd have to think about. I don't know if we've even gotten to the point where which one would come first. I think we will also have to. We want to talk to you all about all the things that could happen here. But I think ultimately these two would maybe come after. And then I think this is a little bit ways down the road, but we wanted to show you that because I think it really ties a ribbon around the whole development. So we didn't want to sort of leave that half of the map off, but this is sort of down the road. So I don't know.
I would
Bill,
add
yeah,
that,
go ahead.
so, Baker mentioned the family demographic, trying to cater to a different audience than just the golfer. Baker's had his kids up here, I brought my family up. I mean, families love this place, and you kind of look at it and say, well, why? Well, they go run in the sand dunes, they swim in the lakes, they just enjoy being outdoors. And so this is kind of a foray into that next market that we all think is there. We just don't know exactly what that demand's gonna look like. And so our thought and plan is to go out kind of very methodically, try to test the waters with a few parcels, see if we're successful. If we are, then there'll be a little bit more following. This is not a plan that would just get all built at one time. You're gonna clear the entire site, plat all these lots. We'll plat them up front, but as far as phasing goes, it's really gonna be a function of the demand of what we hear from the market.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. I mean, we did, like some of these homes that we're contemplating, we'll have to, we're going off our gut a little bit that we think families will want to come and be here.
No,
Um,
I think that's smart too. just being out more and more in our community too, and as your season closes, like last night, that's my one enjoyment is trivia night, and you see younger families staying now. Once your season closes, there's younger families here, and younger families have children. And I talked to one about a community issue. So when you talk about things like interaction and density and using the land wisely and building a community within your golf community, I think that's wise. And maybe that's something we need to collaborate on, is finding out how many younger families are staying here. And that's something that we can do together, because the census is only done every 10 years. And yeah, they update it every couple years, but maybe we need to find that out, and build on that, because we talk about that too, using the little bit of land we have left in the Rome Town Center with workforce housing and 55 plus, and we can't forget about that. We're not just old people here anymore. We're bringing in younger families, and they need a place to live and stay in affordable housing, although it connotates something that some people don't really understand anymore. They need housing because we're losing that affordable housing at a price point that we don't have.
Correct.
So people are selling their homes, moving out, but they're being bought up for another purpose. So that's something we got to work towards, and you're presenting something here, but we need housing. So, and there are families here coming to live, work, and play. So I this is really exciting. And so you talk about things that we've been talking about with economic development right here at the town level. So,
For sure.
yeah. So some of the overtones you have here is a philosophy that we need to talk about and adopt as well.
Understand.
Yeah.
And Jackie, sorry to we started off in a shipping container. So I
Oh,
think
I remember it well,
the
too.
idea is the Kaisers typically, it's a plot along. So none of this is going to happen overnight. We're going to build a few and see how those go, and then build a few more if that goes well. So that, again, I don't want anybody to be overwhelmed. This is a big picture here, but this is a long range plan, and we anticipate sort of, as we continue to hopefully see success and people wanting to buy into this product, will continue to grow organically.
I would just add to that when we talk about phasing and doing it slowly, it isn't gonna be one house here, one house here, one house here, right? It's gonna be looking at zones.
Right.
So we're not gonna have somebody show up and be the only one in the neighborhood. So it'll be in packages of things that we feel comfortable will be a good enough experience for the homeowner. And so it may not be building the first home right away, maybe selling 10, 12, 15, 20 of them before you would start, or something like that.
So you're saying like it might be Sedge Village South, or it might be the Peninsula, or it might be North, right?
And we think right now the peninsula is probably
The key spot to-
low-hanging fruit with respect to
Right.
catering to families, smaller houses, more walkability. I mean, we're showing
Smaller
this peninsula
envelopes, okay.
Is amenities. So we talked about pool, Baker talked about kayaking,
Yeah.
paddle boarding, sunfish sailboats, fishing. We even, Hart Howerton's done projects where they put a big floating moving screen out on the water, and kids go out in inner tubes at night and watch movies. The sunsets, is gonna be viewed this way. So we think people will wanna come to this endpoint, in the evenings and hang out, with restaurants. You could have dinner and have your kids or grandkids running on the lawn while you're watching them. Like, these are all things that kids just love to do, and we're seeing, anecdotally through small groups, that this is what they want. And we're just trying to provide that in this plan.
Yeah, and to add to that, if you think about the thought, so I use the word thoughtful a lot. I mean, this is prime real estate, right? I mean, in terms of saleable, this is on the lake.
Right.
This is shared. We want this to be shared. Right? We want this to be an amenity, so that we're leaving, much like we think about golf. If you go back to the original Kaiser Senior Bandon, he put the golf on the ocean and put the buildings back in the background, because he wanted the golfer's experience to be the best experience. That was what he was selling to when he was thinking about Oregon. This is the same philosophy. We want people, people staying here to come here, people staying here to come here, and use that. And so instead of trying to squeeze every, proverbial dollar out of this, we push this back and allow this to really be the shining moment and be the shared space. So just thinking about that in terms of trying to be thoughtful with regard to having shared space. Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, Baker, do you envision owners of these properties to kind of be a mixture of seasonal people, full-time people, and maybe some rental as well?
So we envision similar to our model with probably part-time and rental, but through the resort. So the same way we've done the homes currently. And then, I think you know, we would love to hear that people are staying, you know, full-time is hard to predict, you know, but we would welcome that. I mean, I think there's no issue with people, especially homeowners building, if they want to be here, you know, I think, well, and look, this is all just anecdotally, my gut and what we've talked about, but I think, you know, we'd love to see people stay at least, you know, month, 2 months, 3 months at a time, the entire summer, come for a month in the winter. So rather than have it be totally, you know, sort of transitional where it's all just resort gas and one or the other, I think we're going to find that, you know, as we provide more things and more amenities, that people will stay longer stays, and that's what we're thinking. Whether or not we have people that are full-time Rome residents, that would be a crystal ball. I'd love to know. But I wouldn't want to predict that. But I think that would be fantastic.
And my other question is, how many housing units are you talking about, considering your whole plan here that's all 3 units?
Do we know that offhand? How many total units? I mean, we haven't gone through, and we'll come back and assuming that this continues to go well, we'll come back and plot these. I think there's along the peninsula. There's about 14 home sites. Do we know
20 to 30 up
There's
there.
about 20 to 30 up here. And then these
Close to the
are.
same.
This is, I don't know, what do you remember?
close.
There are about like 36 home
So
sites,
this is-
but then some of them are shared
But
walls.
some of these
so
are
then
shared walls, so this is, so
Units,
this,
there are more, probably, you know, yeah, close to like 50 maybe units.
so 50 units, let's call this 15 to 20, call this 30 to 40.
So about 100.
And my comments regarding families too might have been a little bit confusing, but people are much more mobile these days too. They might have homes that, they might be here 3 or 4 months out of a year or that too. So
Sure, the
younger
ability to
families,
work.
older families, they're more mobile.
The internet, everything, people can work from anywhere, it's great. So I think that's a big part of it too. I think we're seeing that just in general with people, homeowners that we already have staying longer and being able to work from here in the summer or maybe be here for a week and work while the kids are off playing in the sand, so.
Because we have talked about families that are here for the golf season and then they go somewhere else for the ski season. Or they go to another golf community that's in the south.
Sure.
The other thing too is the three neighborhoods, the Sedge Village North, the peninsula and the south, is like 67 acres of property total. So it's a large section of land.
But
And
overall-
then you add 6 more to the end of the peninsula on top of it. So it's quite a large piece of property.
But you still anticipate a lot of these units, once they're built, they'll be in some form within a large rental pool or of some sort.
If
Could
the
be.
owners opt into that, yeah, I mean, that's the model. We'll continue to work with that, and so our hope is that these will not be specific to golfers per se, but we would love to be able to put them in the rental pool and continue to use that same model we've used with the homes.
Well, and if you're a family coming to visit and you're not playing golf, you know, all the units on site right now are pretty much dedicated to golfers who are visiting.
Right.
So to have a product that a family can come and rent right now doesn't really exist. At least that's not the intention. The intention is that the existing lodging caters to the golfers. And so the idea here is to really expand the rental pool to allow families to come and rent for 5 days. And we've talked about strategies around minimum night stay. So these new units might be 5-night minimum, 4-night minimum, to keep the guy's golf trip from renting these and focusing it more on people who want to come for a longer period of time.
Longer periods of
And I
time.
don't know the number, but it's something, people visit Sand Valley 6-7 times on average before they purchase, if they do?
Typically, we see that the buyer is on their 5th, 6th, or 7th visit.
So part of this is a pipeline for future buyers, is to give them an opportunity to come and rent, experience Sand Valley, come multiple years. Maybe a group comes and plays golf and says, hey, my family would love this. Maybe they're from Texas. We've seen groups from all over the country saying they'd love to come visit. So this is that pipeline to get them the ability to come here and experience it.
The plan also shows a possibility of a hotel, which would kind of cater to that
Right.
same
But
situation.
you can see it. I mean, if you're going to Mammoth Bar, you can see, like, I'll be in there with my family, and there'll be 4 golfers, and you can see the guy's light bulb go off in his head and go, I'm here with my buddies. Oh, and I can come back and play golf with my family too. So I think we're, just from, like I said, our gut and just hearing other homeowners and other people that have, what feedback we get from our guests is that, there's this, we've obviously done really well with the golfers and especially the guys, buddies, golf trips is our core business. It has been. I think as we continue to grow, you see these, guys that are like, oh, look, there's another guy here with his family. Like, I could come back and bring my kids and my wife, and there's things for them to do. And so that's the direction that we feel like we want to go with this.
And the Commons Golf Course too is really the idea
Yeah.
that go ahead if you want.
No, please.
That expands on, it's designed to be a course for everybody, beginners, kids, families, so you may only go out and play 3 holes and not feel like you have to play all 13. You could play all 13, but that's just another component that really the current golf courses are, they're quite expensive for a family to go out of 4 or whatever, 8. And so this is trying to create a product that might be more accessible to everyone.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I didn't touch on that, but the Commons, the way we think about it is an intermediate golf course. So rather than start on 1, play all 18, 4.5 hours, it's 13 holes. If you play all 13, it might be 2.5 hours, but a lot of big sort of open turf, not a lot of deep sand traps, not a lot of water. So, my 9-year-old daughters will love playing it. My 80-year-old father will love playing it, and they could go together and play it and play in 2 hours, and it's not a 4.5 hour commitment of the day. So that a lot of what started all this was the Commons was sort of the catalyst, saying, okay, we need a product. We're hearing from our guests that 36 a day is a lot. I'd love to be able to come back with my family. How do I play more sort of family golf? And the Commons sort of solves a lot of that by what we call an intermediate golf course. So it's not, from a difficulty rating, we think our core customers will like it, but we think, all different golf levels will like it. Big greens, big turf. You can hit it along the ground. You can hit it in the air. All that stuff. So that's a big part of what the Commons is. And to Bill's point, I think, being able to sort of wander out of here and bring a 7-iron and play a few holes is part of that experience.
What
Well,
I'd
the
like
other-
to do, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead,
The
Aaron.
other thing too is that, sharing the lake with everyone on the resort is important. And that will draw more people to want to come here as well, because they can all go to that peninsula and choose from any of the options and amenities that might be there.
Okay.
That really-
Quick question,
Well,
is
I'd like-
it public or private?
The lake,
The golf course, the lake?
everything over here is public, just like the rest of the resort.
So if you wanna come and play the 13 with your kids, if there's somebody around here that wants to do that.
Love to have you. Yeah.
What I'd
Yeah.
like to do is turn it over to especially the plan commissioners, because we have a 5 o'clock meeting, so if
Oh,
there's
sorry, I didn't
any.
mean to go
No,
long.
that's fine, this is great. Getting as much information as we can in preparation for our upcoming plan commission meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any specific questions the plan commissioners want to pose now in preparation for that meeting regarding this entire PUD amendment, I would suggest you maybe ask them now, or if anybody has anything right now they can think of.
The questions I had dealt with the density issue, but they've all been answered. with the
There you
president.
go, great presentation. Especially for Diana, she's our expert on questions.
You guys
But
are
Nick,
pretty
go
lucky.
ahead, please.
I haven't had a time to.
That
No, no,
would lead to your presentation then to the plan commission. So looking at the 2 slides, operational needs and mixed use amenities, I think you spoke to the amenities and how that kind of intermixes in the plan. As I look at the operational needs slide, certainly those needs are going to be even more prevalent as you do a scaled development like this. Some of these are not facilities, other things are certainly facilities. On the master plan map, is this going to be concentrated? Are these going to be kind of mixed throughout? What is the vision on kind of tying in these operational needs pieces to the overall master plan?
Go to the site plan, I can
Yep,
speak
yep.
to that one.
Ooh, wrong way. All the way. Okay.
So it's,
You want to come up here, Bill?
yeah, it's not 100% clear from this plan, but there's a zone.
Talking to the mic.
Sorry. There's a zone at the upper portion of the property. This is the existing entry drive. This is Archer Avenue. One of the operational constraints or issues right now is semi-trucks have to come all the way down here. So for deliveries and things like that. The idea here is to create what we call the central campus. That will take all the back house facilities, bring them to a point right off Archer Avenue, so we're not having to bring truck traffic in. So deliveries, housekeeping, employee parking, caddies, all of that happens kind of at the front door of the resort, and then it's dissipated throughout based on the needs of what's being brought in.
Great, thank you.
Is that currently where the practice range is, right next to the camp,
Practice
Up,
range.
up.
Practice
no,
range-
up on top?
Yeah, the practice range was here.
Yeah.
This is
So you
being
will be
cleared,
moving it?
moving it, yes.
Okay. And what are the building, or are those the maintenance sheds, right, or shack?
In the side, yeah.
Buildings?
Yeah, and over time, you know, the idea would probably be to relocate those. One of the things we realized in the master plan was they're probably in the wrong spot in the beginning. But, you know, that's not an immediate need, we could work with it the way, where it is. But some of the items that are in here, like there's housekeeping in here today, that will go up here, ideally.
Is there an entrance to that whole complex off of that, would be the southwest corner? Is that a, other, okay, yeah, southeast, I'm sorry. Is there a road that comes into that, or does everything funnel in off of Archer Avenue?
Everything funnels in off Archer. This is the path up to the Sand Valley.
Okay.
First tee, Craig's Porch.
Yeah, okay, I'm just looking for like, if, you know, emergency vehicles had to come in or whatever, is there any plan to have something built so that they don't have to navigate that whole thing to allow them in?
Well, the plan contemplates additional curb cuts on Archer. Not only the service entrance, the main entrance, but then 2 additional curb cuts. So you have multiple ways in and out.
I believe those entry points are already there, so those would be part of the discussion in the future. I know where they are.
Yeah.
Because I see
do you know?
vehicles already coming in and out of there, so those would probably be part of the plan in the future. Those would be discussed with the emergency service, our chiefs at that time when we get to that point.
Absolutely.
With, the housing you're anticipating down by Mammoth there, that is the current parking lot?
Correct.
So where would the parking lot then be, would it be part of this at all? or-
So, you know, a lot of what we haven't done an exhaustive study, but the idea is to try to take all the parking that goes there today, understand who's going there, and where else could they go. Half that parking lot, I believe, is employee parking. So we don't need to bring all the employees to the center of the resort. They can be moved somewhere else. We are showing some parking remaining in this area, so there will be some golf traffic. But we'd like to try to get some of that traffic back up to the front door too. So if you're coming, and a lot of people come by bus from the airport, or they're sharing vehicles, if you're here for 3 or 4 days, we'd like you to leave your car and not use it, and use shuttle system or walk. So if we can park those cars up by the front door, then we're creating more open space in here for more walkability.
What type of, you say, you know, you want the people to walk, maybe somebody's gonna be elderly, whatever, are they gonna have any golf carts, be able to drive on your roads and stuff to get to wherever they need to go?
So, I mean, golf carts are in discussion. I think we wanna do it methodically and safely. So there's been discussion of additional paths, or, you know, when we plant new right-of-ways, making sure they're wide enough to accommodate, you know, traffic that's separated.
Okay.
You know, we don't wanna have golf carts and cars on the same road, especially when you deal with guests who aren't familiar. Utilizing the shuttle system, bikes, but even from a walkability perspective, you know, some of the imagery of the Mammoth Village we showed earlier, you know, if we do retail there, maybe you're walking a half block to something. You may not walk all the way over to the peninsula, but you'll have something walkable within your different individual neighborhood.
If I recall correctly, up at the right-hand corner up there where it says enter off of Archer, where those, brown boxes are, for lack of a better term, that's where you were calling about where the guest center would be, if I remember correctly?
Yeah,
Like
why don't
a
you
sort of a
talk
guest
about the
center?
welcome
Yeah,
center?
there's a-
Or down further by the
Kind of in the
central,
center here.
the central campus, that's the guest area where you would offload
So-
some individuals?
Right now, if you go to the clubhouse, kind of at,
Right,
you know, the hottest day of the year, or I'm sorry, the most busiest day of the year, it's pretty compact.
right.
And so part of the thought is maybe we can take some of that traffic and pull it away from the front door of the
Right, okay.
clubhouse, put it closer to where the guests are coming in, and create actually an experience for that guest when they first arrive. So they might be showing up and waiting for the rest of their group for an hour or two, so they could go there first. It would be adjacent to the Commons Golf Course, overlooking the driving range. But I would say operations-wise, it hasn't been fully figured out if that's what we want to do, or we want to send traffic around. But we're having a placeholder right now here for that use.
Okay, thank you.
How about the hotel? You did mention that. Where's that located, or potentially?
We have a placeholder here, kind of overlooking the Commons.
Okay,
I see that, okay.
You know, and it's probably similar to what's at the Mammoth Lodge now,
okay.
you know, 10, 15, 20 rooms maybe. But, you know, hotel rooms with a little bit of a lobby. You know, maybe some height, like we're thinking about maybe getting, you know, like a view out over the golf course.
but it would have to be within context of everything else.
Gotcha.
Nick, can you think of any other questions in prep for plan or plan commission or?
Just a couple things that came out of this discussion, is if you're asking for feedback, maybe for bringing back to the plan commission, I
Yes.
had, maybe a reference to phases of development. I think that was a question that came up and could be included. And then also, there's been a number of different, mentions of zones, as you've answered questions.
Yes.
And maybe just including a slide with some of those zones, would be helpful to understand kind of, you're looking at a zone, zones of development in some of these areas, and it might be helpful to get an idea visually of how that fits into the map.
Pull that slide out, Nick. Pull that slide out. Get it back in there.
Anyone else?
If this comes to the planning commission somewhere down the road, is it gonna be the whole thing at one time or just different areas of it, as far as your PUD goes? I guess maybe I'm not saying that correctly. I mean, do we get a plan unit development for the Sedgeville South, for the Peninsula, for the North, or Mammoth, or is that just all one big PUD unit?
I might actually be able to
Yeah,
answer
'cause
some of that. So part of this is the PUD project plan amendment. That's what's going to come at your next plan commission meeting. As they're kind of developing out different phases of this, likely there's going to be some kind of land division, or development that will need an additional overview that the plan commission and town board would be vested with that authority. So you're gonna see it first probably as a PUD project plan amendment. That's gonna go through the process that we've seen before, in a couple different times, as that one slide indicated. Then as they're kind of doing the developments and phasing those in, we would likely see each of those as they're being brought in whenever that would be.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify too, the desire is to show everything as we know it today, as opposed to piecemealing it and coming in every year with something different. So we're trying to kind of be comprehensive, and also give us the ability to react to what the market tells us. So if the market tells us that there's a tremendous demand for these shared wall townhomes, we'd like the flexibility within the PUD to cater to that market. If the market says we like single-family homes on half-acre lots or 0.3-acre lots, then we'd like the ability to change this maybe to do that. So we're bucketing it to kind of give you a flavor of what we think will work, but we're asking, to the extent that you're comfortable, with some flexibility to allow us to move the pieces around, so we're not here every year asking for something different.
There was thought put into that, I think, a little bit more, if I might add, because when we had in the past with those adjustments, they were coming through and there was comments made at plan commissions meetings that, we're just getting the same slide presentation with some adjustments, so there was a lot of thought and effort put into this presentation, like Eric had just said, give the entire presentation, and then they would come back with the additional updates as they were needed. So, anything else, anybody? Any final comments or anything you wanna offer up before we?
No, I think we'll take the feedback we've gotten from everybody, and then, I think we've got a plan commission meeting coming up. And
We have to
Yes.
submit next Wednesday or the following
It's
Monday?
actually, the plan,
December 12th.
December
12th is
12th.
the meeting, but I think we gotta have it a week ahead of time. So we're gonna keep working on this, and again, we really appreciate your guys' time, letting us, hearing us out and then giving us the feedback. We're gonna, add as much of what we heard tonight into this, and then come back with a sort of a final presentation to put in front of the plan commission, and then, keep it moving forward. But again, I think we're very excited about, this and, working with you all.
Absolutely, as are we. Thank you very much for taking the time this evening.
Of course.
Thank
And
you.
take your extras with you, because we'll probably have a large meeting at the next one, so,
Okay,
all right?
we'll do that.
Excellent presentation, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
What, Jamie, one more thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I know, we're not done yet, but, I know, but,
Waiting for the adjournment.
oh, I know. So, dates and times for future agenda meetings. The next one is the Plan Commission meeting on December 12th, 2023, and then that, would forward on to the January 4th, 2024 meeting. So, motion to adjourn. Thank you very much.
Meeting adjourned 4:54 PM.